Okay, I made a video earlier today, but I've gotten some stuff on Twitter, and I usually handle myself well. But when I'm trying to prove my point, I gotta go up to the flipping mic stand real quick, and I gotta go ahead and hold my hand up here like this, and drop the mic so hard that your grandchildren are gonna feel it, okay? Let me just say something right now. I have conflicting feelings that look at me, head, toe, shoes, socks, shorts, shirt to head that should have an Arizona State hat on it, but I have it at my aunt's house. Is my mom coming? Banner. Look, Oregon should win this game. Technically, all I'd say Oregon should win this game. Of course, what's going to happen? Arizona State is going to win this game, which is awesome. However, the Pac-12 is going to look like an absolute joke. And even though this is going to prove that the Pac-12 South has much better talent than the Pac-12 North, and that Utah should probably be in the playoff, even though apparently they, I guess, don't have good enough offense, or maybe they don't, apparently their defense is not. Are you kidding me? Their defense held this Arizona State team to like 7. Wasn't even 7. It was like 3 points, right? It was like, I don't know, 3 or 6 points. I think they may have gotten 2 field goals, and I don't have to check it again to look at the score. But it destroyed. Utah gave Arizona State absolutely zero chance from snap 1 to snap no more. Okay, and they took the victory formation while it was raining. Okay. And then Arizona State went on a 4-game losing streak after that game. And they could have won 2 games out of that. And maybe if they won those 2 games, they would have a little bit better meaning in their bowl game. And that's besides the point. What is the point that I'm trying to make here is that since Utah ranked lower than Oregon, obviously is not getting the same amount of respect that they deserve, because the Pac-12 was not getting the same amount of respect they deserve. It's like, oh, man, Utah. Obviously, they don't think Oregon can beat Alabama, and obviously they don't think Utah could beat Alabama either, because they have them ranked above. They have Alabama ranked above them. And that means if the only reason why Utah should be able to get into the playoff, like I said, is if Alabama loses and either like Clemson or Ohio State would have to lose. Okay? And maybe Utah could sneak in. The one positive I can take from this is that Utah destroys Oregon and proves how unbelievably good they actually are in the championship game, right? And then I can show this. I can show this because this is my dog and he's great. And we can all agree with dogs, right? And another great positive of this would be, obviously, if Utah, 1, can again beat Oregon, and 2, could then go into the playoff and carry the Pac-12 into actually being in a somewhat respected position. And then, if they can win the whole thing and possibly beat an SEC team, LSU, and show how great their defense really is, then just maybe the Pac-12 will have clout going into next year. But I fear that Arizona State winning tonight would just make them, like, the Pac-12 look like an utter joke. Because for some reason, I honestly think that Utah's completely underrated. And I honestly think that Utah deserves to be in the playoffs right now. And I honestly think that Oregon should be right behind them at 5. But the committee honestly thinks that Pac-12 football entirely is a joke. And they're just going to keep them, I think they flip a coin. And so far, Oregon got the head side of the coin, and they kept them on that 5 and 6, 6 and 7 position. pretty much this whole time, and they only moved up because of like shakeups with probably like Minnesota and maybe, just maybe, Georgia winning in a game where they should have won by a lot more, but they only won by 3 against Texas A&M, would move Alabama up into that 4 position, because the community, as we all know, is going to look at Utah, and even though they're probably going to destroy Arizona, let's go, ha ha ha, in their faces. There is no way that Utah is going to be put above flipping Alabama, because why? They're going to look at this loss that Oregon took here today against Arizona State. That's about it. That's all I gotta say. My dog's looking pretty good too. There's his shot right there. And they're gonna look at this loss against Oregon and say, and judge the whole Pac-12 on that and say, because they think that Oregon is obviously the best team in the Pac-12, or else they wouldn't be ranked. They wouldn't be ranked higher than Utah is. So then they're going to look at this loss and say, well, now that they lost, the Pac-12's now suckier for some reason. Even though they have no idea, because they never watched, that the Pac-12 South is in fact just much better by far this year than the North is. Fight me, by the way. Because they don't understand. And I don't like that. I honestly am more frustrated that the Pac-12 is taking a hit for existing and for having great competitive gameplay on the field, whereas the SEC and the Big Ten can also have great competitive gameplay on the field. But since their teams in their league dominate and have dominated for a while and have been at the top for a long time and so consistent, therefore when there's more competitiveness in the SEC or in the Big Ten, or even in the ACC with Clemson, and actually not really Clemson just on a whole new level, then they probably should be in the if they were in the SEC, they probably would they probably beat like Alabama and Auburn and Georgia, and it wouldn't be close, and LSU, and it'd be like, I mean, because Clemson's been completely undermined in this whole scenario here. Clemson is just doing their job, taking care of business day in and day out. I'm pretty sure they're still undefeated, and they've been undefeated for a long time. And they were the former champions. How much time I got? 8 minutes? This has been 8 minutes. And yet, it seems like they're still getting the short end of the stick, just because, I guess, the SEC, who's been good for a long time, or been lifted up a lot higher thanks to Alabama for a long time, is now, getting all the credit here in this college football playoff era. And I think that's sad. I think that a conference that gets punished for the way they schedule games, all right, shouldn't mean that they're also just, just because the Pac-12 schedules games terribly and have all the games at a time that national eyes and the other people across the nation can see, they only schedule it at a time that the people on the West Coast could see. It kind of hurts the Pac-12, and that sucks. That really sucks. I mean, if everyone else could see the Pac-12 gameplay, if everyone else could actually notice, like, that the Pac-12 is actually pretty decent and full of teams that never give up and actually deserve to be in the Pac-12, unlike Rutgers. Unlike, oh crap, who was it this year? Vanderbilt, Tennessee. I mean, okay, sorry. All right. I don't understand. I just don't understand why the Pac-12 is being punished for being so competitive just because they're on so late that no one else can watch them other than people that live on the West Coast and in California. I don't get it. And also, there's other teams. There's other games other than flipping football. There's wrestling and like water polo and basketball and baseball and I don't know, hockey. But that doesn't really get taken into account too much when it comes to like producing, producing conferences and stuff and the D1 level. That's just my opinion on the whole matter. So, dog. Hey, Weston. Hey. Yeah. I'm just a little frightened that Oregon's just gonna like lose here and the Pac-12. It's just gonna be just utterly disrespected because now that the quote best team in the Pac-12 went down, all of a sudden the rest of it goes down, and it seems like a team in the Pac-12 can go undefeated with one-loss teams in other conferences, and they would somehow still get punished because of like strength of schedule and all that, like preseason ranking. Which, by the way, there's 12:29. I might as well just rant about I'm gonna rant about something else right here. Preseason rankings are the biggest joke I've ever seen. Okay. I'm gonna title this video as like, hey, just go to like what? I'm flipping it over because I can see the time. Go to like 12:44 or like 13 in the video, be like, and then you'll understand why I'm titling it. Preseason rankings are the worst. They're the worst. They're the absolute worst. I don't understand why they do preseason rankings when the rankings system doesn't even matter anymore because there's playoff rankings, which is provided by the evidence that is on the field. And half of the preseason ranked teams aren't even ranked, and I don't even understand. I actually don't get it. I truly do not get it. It makes no sense to me that how the preseason rankings work and why they are the way they are. Like, there should be no preseason rankings. There should be no ranking system until like the first 3 weeks of football are over, until there's conference play in every single conference, or else I don't understand. It makes no sense. They just showed the wrestling team beating Penn State. Another thing is like the linebackers for the wrestling team. You know what'd be really sick is if there were linebackers for this team. I bet you they'd be so much better on defense if the linebackers, or at least the linebackers for this team, trained with the wrestlers on that team, on their wrestling team, and like tried to like, train with them to wrestle them, and just imagine how great the world would be. I'm gonna put on my dog so I know when to stop the video. Just imagine how great the defense would be if every single linebacker on Arizona State's defense can almost outdo or match the wrestlers. Think about it. Because the wrestlers are the best at taking down people in the nation. Think about it. It's like wrestling is like pure form tackling. The way you do it.